Coming up on the FSR Sarkfighter podcast, Kimberly Cleary is doing her best to deal with pulmonary sarcoidosis.
Still coughing, and I'm starting to feel a little less hopeful, and I'm starting to feel like sick almost every day. But I still think it can't be anything serious.
Her doctors are still searching for the right medicines to get her sarcoidosis under control.
I lived 2 blocks from the train.
Okay.
I was struggling to get to the train. Like I would have to stop, and then to go down the steps, I'd have to stop every I felt like it was 100.
This is the Sarkfighter podcast, living with sarcoidosis and other rare diseases. Here's your host, John Carlin.
Hello, this is episode 169 of the FSR Sarkfighter podcast. I'm your host, John Carlin. The date of this recording, August 24th of 2026. Hope you're feeling as well as you can be today, and also that you are feeling hopeful. If not, keep listening to the podcast because you'll hear a little bit about what FSR is doing, and you will just kind of get a sense of what all is going on in the sarcoidosis world, knowing that you are not alone and that other people are out there going through. Of course, it's the snowflake disease. Nobody's going through exactly what you're going through, but I'll bet they understand it, right? So there we go. That's a little bit of kernel of hope that I have for you today. On the show today is Kimberly Cleary, who, like most SARC patients, suffered a long path to diagnosis. Now her team of physicians they're trying to find the right treatment to get her SARC under control. And Kimberly joins me from Chicago. You will be hearing her talk about her struggles of going from bad to worse, of how her family is helping her handle the disease, while they kind of try to get a handle on what's going on with Kimberly as well. So all of that is coming up. FSR has an event that is forthcoming in late September, and I've got some copy that I want to share with you now. It says, are you a healthcare professional who cares for patients with sarcoidosis or may encounter patients who are undiagnosed or recently diagnosed? Please join the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research for the FSR Regional Sarcoidosis Summit 2026, happening Saturday, September 26th in Philadelphia. This complimentary in-person CME program brings together leading sarcoidosis experts from Jefferson Health, Temple Health, and Penn Medicine to explore practical approaches to recognizing, diagnosing, treating, and managing sarcoidosis across multiple organ systems. Clinicians can learn up to 7 AMA PRA Category 1 credits while connecting with experts and colleagues from across the region. And as it turns out, the summit is not just for clinicians. There will be 2 dedicated tracks, one for healthcare professionals, one for patients and care partners, with a shared networking lunch that brings everyone together. Registration closes September 15th, so be sure to register today for the FSR Regional Sarcoidosis Summit 2026. And you just need to go to stopsarcoidosis.org/Philadelphia Summit. And of course, they hope to see you in Philadelphia on September 26th. To my knowledge, I will not be traveling to that event. I am plumb out of time off from work. But at any rate, I'm happy to pass that message along. I will pass it along as long as it's relevant. So that's coming up. Registration closing on September 15th. The event is coming up let me get it back to it, on September 26th in Philadelphia. And there will be a link to sign up in the show notes, or you can just go to the FSR website, stopsarcoidosis.org. Also, another reminder that the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research is teaming up with the Patient Advocate Foundation. They want to offer a new support program for people with sarcoidosis who need help navigating insurance, disability benefits, and other financial challenges. And once again, the link to that is in the show notes, or you can get it at the FSR website. So, yeah, two nice pieces of information there from FSR. So there's a little bit of reason for hope, and we haven't even gotten to Kimberly yet. Okay, just a couple of personal notes before we get into the interview today, but I've been keeping you abreast of some different things in my life. I would say that for now, sarcoidosis continues to be at bay. That's good. For me now, I would say that I have been controlled, or remission would be, I'm still taking medications. So to me, I call that controlled and not remission, but I'm not having any additional flares or additional symptoms beyond the damage on my spinal cord, which was done through my initial bout and then subsequent flare. So I've been good since 2019 or since 2020, really. Been feeling pretty good. So I really cannot complain. I would say that I'm mostly recovered from my bike ride from Albany, New York to New York City. That was a long bike ride. And you may not be surprised to learn that I've only ridden sparingly over the past, couple of weeks. Although I did go out for 30 miles on Sunday, and I felt really good. And I've got one more big bike ride before 2026 is over. And this is, it's called a century. So a century is the bicycle version of a marathon. If you run a marathon, you run 26.2 miles. If you ride a century, it's 100 miles. And my wife and I are on pace to try and do a century in the fall on the Eastern Shore. I'm pretty sure it's the Eastern Shore of Maryland, not the Eastern Shore of Virginia. Heck, it's 100 miles. Maybe it's both. I don't know. But at any rate, that's what I'm working on. So I cannot just park the bike and forget about it. I'm going to have to keep on doing some training. But I would say I certainly have all the base miles in, right? So just kind of need to, from this point forward, keep an edge on the knife, as it were. Don't have to sharpen it from nothing. You just kind of gotta keep an edge on it. Don't let it get too dull. But I have been happy just to slow down for a few days. Although I did say during the last podcast that I had kind of let myself go, which sounds odd considering all the cycling I'm doing, and I am. But I have been eating pretty much anything I wanted, including lots and lots of sweets, lots of carbs, lots of breads, lots of pasta. I've just been really enjoying myself, and it was starting to show up. I'd been gaining some weight, and also because I've been riding my bike so much, I really slacked off in the gym. And so maybe for 2 years. And so I kind of looked at where I was. I looked at my leg strength. I looked at how difficult things were that used to be easier on the bike, and also that used to be easier just, and you've heard me talk about this functional fitness, this walking around fitness kind of thing. So things like carrying the laundry basket up and down the stairs, things like carrying a grandchild or bringing in the groceries. It seems like that kind of stuff, yard work, just the basic tenets of yard work, it's all been getting harder and harder and harder. Now, some of that, as I said in the last podcast, is because, I'm getting older, right? And I'm getting to be an age where, most people start to slow down and feel those things. But I still want to take one more swing at trying to do what I've historically been able to do when I was dedicated to strength training in the gym, in addition to everything else. So watching my diet, going back to the Y and continuing to ride my bike for the cardio fitness and just downright enjoyment and pleasure that I get from it. So since the last podcast, I have returned to the YMCA. I have done a couple of sessions right now, and I tell you, just lifting on the machines, not even using free weights or anything like that, just lifting on the machines to kind of get a baseline of where I am, I realize how much strength I have lost. And it's a lot. Yeah, it is. It's been a lot. And all you have to do is put the pin in and say you used to lift a bunch of reps at 50 pounds, and all of a sudden you're doing 30, and you're still not doing as many reps as you used to at 50, or, whatever. Depends upon what machine it is. Depends upon if you're doing bench press or, whatever it is. But my legs are weaker. My arms are weaker. My core is weaker. Everything needs a little help. So I have also, because I used to be on the board here at the local Y, reached out to my contacts there and said, look, I know you have personal trainers, but you guys know my situation because they know me, and you know that I have sarcoidosis and I'm older, and I need an experienced personal trainer who could put all of that into a workout program. So, and that trainer called back and left a message for me, and now I have just not had a chance to call her back. But I just want you to know that I talked about this on the last podcast. It wasn't just blowing smoke. I said, you know what, I'm going to do it. I've also started, I don't want to call it a pure Atkins diet, but I've had almost no sweets. I have had very few. I haven't had on purpose any bread, any pasta, anything like that. I am eating a lot of protein, a lot of bacon, a lot of grilled chicken. I have started doing some, like yesterday, I had a kale smoothie. But I do have this vanilla protein mix, and so when you drink it, it does not taste like kale. It tastes like a vanilla milkshake, and I'm going to take that as a win. But it doesn't have any sugar in it. So be that as it may, I have done that, and I do put a little bit of banana in there, which has got some sugar in it, I know. But doing a lot of push-aways and just really, really, really resisting. So maybe I can lose a few pounds. Maybe I can get some strength back. And they say when you lift more, then you burn more because your muscles burn more calories just when you're doing your normal day-to-day life, walking around. Okay, thought I'd give you an update. Hope I'm not boring you to death with my personal updates, but just trying to let you know that in my time that I am in, let's call it remission, that I'm doing okay, and that maybe you can too, and that there is a path back, because there was certainly a time when I didn't feel like doing any of this stuff. All right, coming up, Kimberly Cleary shares her story here on the FSR Sarc Fighter podcast.
I feel like a zombie, just feeding and stumbling.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying the Sarc Fighter podcast. You may be wondering, what can I do to help? How can I be a part of the sarcoidosis solution? It's simple. Make a donation to KISS, Kick In to Stop Sarcoidosis. 100% of the money goes to the Foundation for Sarcoidosis Research. Look for a link in the show notes of the Sarc Fighter podcast. Welcome back to the FSR Sarc Fighter podcast. Kimberly Cleary is joining me today from Chicago, where she is a fellow Sarc Fighter. Kimberly, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well. So you reached out to me and kind of told me a little bit about your situation, and we were just chatting before we started. So you have, just to set the table here, you have pulmonary sarc that first emerged in August of 2020?
Yes, that is correct. Well,
All right.
I was diagnosed then. It now knowing what I know, it emerged many years earlier.
Many years.
Yes.
The misdiagnosis or undiagnosed
Yeah.
sarcoidosis case. That's a common one. So when did you start feeling badly and what was it?
I started feeling sick around mid 2017.
Okay.
I just started coughing, shortness of breath, fatigue. And I'm somebody I've had seasonal allergies and asthma since I was a child, some sinus problems. So just the coughing, I just thought it must be allergies.
Mm-hmm.
Got to be what it is.
Sure.
So I follow up with my primary care and I end up at an allergist, do skin tests. Yes, I'm allergic to many, many things. So we're going to do allergy shots. And I go on daily allergy medications, nose sprays, change up my asthma inhaler. And I thought, this is going to take care of it. I'll be fine.
Yep. Okay. And?
So then keep going into 2018, still coughing and coughing. And I'm starting to feel a little less hopeful. And I'm starting to feel like sick almost every day. But I still think it can't be anything serious. Right. I've at this point had been very active, really fit. I ran, I did yoga, Pilates, I lifted weights, healthy diet, walking my dogs, like nothing could seriously be wrong. So, follow up again. I'm still doing the allergy stuff. No, maybe I have a little bit of improvement with nasal discharge, less of a runny nose, but the coughing is just getting so bad. So at this point then, it must be acid reflux and GERD. So let's take medication for that. It'll help. And I really wasn't experiencing heartburn or anything, but I thought that seemed reasonable. And then I'm referred to an ear, nose, and throat doctor. He he takes a look with a CT scan. He recommends sinus surgery. I do have nasal polyps and scar tissue. Seems reasonable to have that done. I have the surgery.
So you did. You went through the sinus surgery.
I was certain, that this was gonna. So I have the sinus surgery. Improved breathing is nasal breathing and congestion.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still coughing. And now it's become like hacking just kind of all the time. And it's really affecting my day to day. I'm struggling to work out. And when I do go to work out, people ask me if I'm okay. Like I'll be doubled over coughing. But I still think it must be allergies and there's just something. So I keep doing my allergy shots. And at this point, then it's decided, well, it must be that you have an infection. So then I do multiple rounds of antibiotics, prednisone, which I get some relief.
Okay.
Now, when I look back, there was no relief related to antibiotics. I did not have an infection. It was the prednisone.
The prednisone, sure enough.
Helping the coughing. So finally, at the end of 2019, I get a chest CT. Now, I wish I had very carefully gone into my chart and read the results of the CT, but I did not. So I just did that before our call here today.
Okay.
But the report says that the radiologist believes that it is an inflammatory or infectious process in my lungs with components of a small airway disorder, and that further testing should be done. Well, I don't have any further testing, but I do get a referral to a pulmonologist. So back to antibiotics and prednisone. And in the words of this pulmonologist, who was, seems nice and pleasant, and I believed her when she said, "You're too young for there to be anything seriously wrong. So this must just be, you've just really got an infection." And let's do prednisone and we'll try different antibiotics for a longer period of time. So now at this point, I'm having like stomach intestinal issues and I'm just feeling so bad. Now I'm to the point where I'm so tired. I'm really having trouble making it through the workday. I took the public transport to my job, and I lived 2 blocks from the train.
Okay.
I was struggling to get to the train. Like I would have to stop, and then to go down the steps, I'd have to stop every couple of, I felt like it was 100. And I'm like, this just can't be right. But when you're in that kind of sick state where you feel so bad, I almost didn't have the energy to pursue anything. I
Yeah.
would go to the doctor appointments, but I just wasn't asking as many questions as I wish I had. So again, now I'm stuck with stomach issues. So
Stomach.
yeah,
Okay.
diarrhea, nausea, occasional vomiting. Like it's hard to keep food down.
Well,
But
that could be, I'm just like, that could be from antibiotics,
exactly.
right? Okay. So not that I know a lot. I've just been on enough medicine that I've
Yeah.
experienced this, and antibiotics I know can cause all of that kind of stomach and
Yeah.
digestive
So it's
stuff.
just,
Okay.
yeah,
Because
not
they kill the good bugs too.
everything. And I'd
Yeah.
been on and off and then throw some prednisone, and now we're at a couple of years at this point.
Sure.
So I finally go back in to see pulmonology because I'm like, this is not right. So she does more blood work. And at this point, then they look at the ANA marker.
Mm-hmm.
So I have positive ANA and I have high IgE levels, and that they've been high for the past couple of years. Now, I didn't know what any of that meant. Now I do. And,
Mm-hmm.
so she refers me now to an interventional pulmonary doctor.
Mm-hmm.
And at that point, I also get a referral to see a GI doctor who instantly is like, oh, you need a colonoscopy. We've got to see what's going on.
Oh,
And I'm like, no, I'm not.
yeah. No kidding.
Yeah. No. So I go ahead, I get the colonoscopy. They see all this inflammation.
In the colon. Well,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah. So they immediately prescribe me a steroid, not prednisone. I take budesonide. So at the same time, I'm also trying to get in to see the interventional pulmonary doctor.
How long did it take you to get from the time you were recommended and referred to the pulmonologist to the time you got the visit? Was it 4 months, 3 months?
About 4 months, but you got to remember it was COVID too.
Oh, okay. Sure. Everything was messy.
By the time when I got the referral, it was maybe a couple weeks before things started shutting down.
Got
Then
it.
I get the referral, and when I can finally get, kind of get an appointment, then you have to go and do the COVID test the 48 hours before. And so when I finally get it all set up, it's like the end of July.
Okay. All right.
And the same thing when I was doing the colonoscopy, it was a big deal to get the referral to get in, had to do the COVID test 48 hours before. My husband couldn't go with me, just all of that stress of doing that stuff on my own. So anyway, I finally get the biopsy done. Takes them a little bit of time to get back to me. And I get a phone call, which immediately I'm nervous, like doctors never call you.
Yeah.
And the first thing, and this was not the pulmonologist that did the biopsy. This was the pulmonologist I had been seeing who sent me to the person to do the biopsy.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, I have good news in that you don't have lung cancer. So I was like, hooray. She goes, bad news is you have sarcoidosis. And I was like, excuse me, what? And she's like, it is a poorly understood disease. And I was like, no. And she goes, I'm not an expert in sarcoidosis, so I'm going to be referring you on to our resident expert here at Northwestern Hospital.
Okay.
But just bear in mind, she is also running the COVID ICU and is on the lung transplant team. So in the meantime, I'm going to prescribe you prednisone, and I'm putting in the referral, and you'll get an appointment to see Dr. Russell as soon as she can see you. So now, really not that much time passed, maybe 4 weeks passed before I am able to see Dr. Russell. So we're
Okay.
at, which I was pretty impressed. It was a virtual visit, but that was fine because that meant I didn't have to go and get a COVID test, and I could, and I was still feeling so awful, even on this high dose of prednisone. And at that point then, and I know you've mentioned this about yourself, and pretty much everybody that comes on the podcast who's done prednisone says, like, you just feel awful, like crazy.
Mm-hmm.
sweaty. I was
Mm-hmm.
I was gaining weight,
Mm-hmm.
bruised. I was just, it was unpleasant.
Yeah.
Um,
And what do you
so
know how many milligrams they were
I
giving
was
you?
on 60 at that time.
60? Yeah, that's high. Yep.
And just over time, I kind of noticed, I was having like the brain fog. I couldn't, I was still working, even though
Mm-hmm.
remotely, but really having a hard time focusing in meetings. I was a project manager. I would just trail off when I would be talking about a schedule or deliverables, and people would look at me like, what is going on? And I was
Hmm.
still,
Yeah.
uh,
What do you do for a living?
right now I do media research for an education company, but at the time I worked in higher education at DePaul
Okay. Okay.
in the fundraising office.
Ah, development.
Yeah, so a great, amazing job. And I was there for about 10 years.
Okay. All right. Yeah. So anyway, I'm sorry,
Oh, ask away.
got sidetracked, but yeah. So now you've seen the pulmonologist, and with virtually, it's COVID. And what does she say to you?
Well, she says, explains a little bit about sarcoid because I still was not, I did a little bit of looking online, but it was very confusing to me as to what it actually was, what it was doing to my body, and why did I have all these symptoms. And also was at that point where like I had a diagnosis and I thought, oh, I'll take some medicine and I'll be better in a couple of weeks.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so Dr. Russell explains a little bit and it starts to dawn on me like, oh, this isn't going to be gone in a couple of weeks. And then she's like, oh, with my patients with sarcoid, there are, three medications. One would be methotrexate, leflunomide, azathioprine. So she walked me through like pros and cons of all three meds and kind of side effects. So I was super worried about methotrexate because I was still dealing with intestinal issues and I knew nausea and stomach issues could be one of the bigger side effects of that. So I said, well, let's not try that. And I settled on leflunomide, thinking, this should be fine. It really wasn't. I mean, maybe it helped a little bit with symptoms. I had to remain on prednisone as well for like a couple of months. So I gained probably 50 pounds. I just felt awful and was still coughing.
Mm. Wasn't helping.
Yeah, I was, when I look back, I'm like, I was coughing a little less, but I was still coughing. And now at this point, I was having the issues with the arthritis, which I thought, oh, this is going to be a separate problem, not understanding that, sarcoid can hit you pretty much anywhere. But the mobility that I had was kind of like taken away. Could barely walk. My feet were so like swollen I couldn't put shoes on comfortably.
Mm-hmm. Are you working at this point
I
still?
was working remotely still.
Remote, okay.
But just even to get from my couch to my desk was, just a nightmare of just pain and then back pain and like just everything was hurting. I'm like, what is going on here?
Mm-hmm.
It's a little bit, the sun is enough. Yeah, so things just seemed to get worse before, and I didn't know really what to do. And then finding out that now with the sarcoid diagnosis, I got to see a bunch more specialists. So they're like, oh, you could have sarcoid in your heart. So let's go to cardiology. So many, an amazing cardiologist, lots and lots of tests, no sarcoid in my heart, but I do have high blood pressure. So then let's add, high blood pressure medication.
Yeah.
I also ended up having to have another colonoscopy because a GI specialist who specializes in inflammatory conditions of the bowels and the colon was like, oh, I need to take a look. So I was like, no. They kind of saw the same thing, inflammation. Not sure exactly what. Could it be sarcoid? Did they see any granulomas? No, but it's probably sarcoid. So hoping that, the steroids and the leflunomide are going to deal with that and make it better, not really happening. And then I got a referral to rheumatology, which ended up being like just a game changer.
It was. So rheumatology is because
Yep.
that's where I started was rheumatology, but it just yeah. So I'm not surprised you started with a pulmonologist, but rheumatology has been my local hospital. That's where they treat sarc out of.
Yeah.
So okay, so the rheumatologist knew something that other people didn't.
Yeah. I mean, and I was a little nervous when I went in. I got a fellow who was just, starting his training in rheumatology at Northwestern, and just what an amazing, wonderful, kind, caring doctor. Like,
Mhm.
listened to me, spent all the time, did all the tests, explained things, and then said, yeah, this is probably sarcoid. We don't necessarily think it's in your joints. We think it's in your tendons. So all of this pain that I'm feeling, like in my Achilles, my elbow, like, tennis elbow in both elbows, it's all tendon, my shoulders, my hips, like just everything. And he was able to do ultrasounds and show me where there would be swelling and fluid in the various tendons, which helped in my understanding of, kind of what sarcoid was doing to my body at that point.
So I have never heard of sarcoid in or on a tendon. Is that, or did you just have general inflammation? You didn't have granulomas on your
Well,
tendon,
they've not done a biopsy because they wouldn't even know where to biopsy in these
right?
various spots, but just they're speculating that that's what some of these like areas of swelling, that there's granulomas there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, so either way, they did all the tests. Like, it's not rheumatoid arthritis. It's not, were they testing for anacolunding? I don't think I'm saying that right. Spondylitis.
Okay.
Thought that, but that is more than they would see evidence in the pelvis. And then your spine kind of is crumbling towards the lower
Oh,
spine, lower back. So all of this stuff. Um, and I'm also there listening to me when I'm saying, hey, I'm so tired. In so much pain. I am still coughing. So the doctor and the team from rheumatology contacted pulmonology and said, hey, you know, we think there should be a medication change. And the pulmonologist was like, yeah, I don't disagree. Well, what do you think? So I started on Humira. Uh,
okay. Yep.
a lot of fighting with the insurance to
A
like
lot of
get it,
fighting. Yeah.
like they don't want to pay for it. I ended up being part of one of the patient copay assistance plans, where it ended up being very reasonable. Um, I started to feel a little improvement, and then I got COVID. So I couldn't take the shots then. Had a little bit of a setback, but I was finally like, oh, this is going to work. I just know it. And it did for a while. I was feeling better, um, becoming more active. I was able to lose 20 pounds. Um, and I had switched from the leflunomide at the same time to azathioprine.
Okay.
Leflunomide was making my hair fall out. So I just couldn't deal with that on top of, oh my God, I gained so much weight and I'm in a bad mood and I'm always sweaty. I need to at least have some hair.
Need to have hair. I
I need
get
to have
that.
hair.
I get that.
So we switched to the azathioprine along with the Humira, and things were, once I got past COVID, things were going along pretty good. Um, Feeling better, more active, starting just to get back into like the swing of just enjoying life. And then, let's see, was it about a year that I did the Humira?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I did Humira for about a year. Around about January 2023, it just stopped working.
Hmm.
And within about 8 weeks, it was all, the cough was really bad. Things were swelling up, limping around. Rheumatology like jumped in real fast and they're like, yeah, you have antibiotics to the Humira. I'm like, all right, okay.
Biologic. Yep.
Yeah.
That's what happened.
So
Yep.
I started on infliximab.
Mm-hmm.
Doing the infusions.
That's Remicade, right? Also, yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Started doing the infusions initially every 8 weeks, and a low dose methotrexate. And I said, I don't want to do, if I'm on the infusion, why do I need to do any of the oral pills? And they're like, well, because we want to try to prevent you from developing antibodies to this medication. We're hoping the methotrexate stops that.
Mm-hmm.
So I agreed to do the little dose of the methotrexate, and kind of slowly started feeling a little better, and then, but not getting the great results that they had hoped for, and that I had hoped for as well. So increased the dosage. We got to a reasonably high dosage, still low on the methotrexate, and then bumped up the frequency of the infusions.
Of the Remicade, yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So they're every 4 weeks. That was a huge issue with the insurance, many letters and appeals, but eventually that was worked out.
Good.
And feeling pretty decent.
Okay.
And then I got colitis and just kind of, I think I missed one infusion because of that, maybe two.
Mm-hmm.
And then just coughing and back with the arthritis pain. Got the new CT scan of my lungs. And that's when it's like, oh yeah, we compared this to your scan from 2023. And the pulmonologist was great and actually sat there and showed it to me. But kind of upsetting to see all of these new spots in my lungs.
So it was back.
Yeah, back.
Sarcoidosis was back.
Yeah, and way more than it had been previously.
Oh,
and,
worse. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
And now in the lymph nodes. So previous scans, I had 3 large granulomas that never resolved, but they were stable, they weren't growing. But all the little ones had gone away and it was not in my lymph nodes at all. Now this scan, there's so many you couldn't even count. And
how long ago was that?
That was in March.
Of this year, 2026.
Yeah.
Okay.
So there was a lot of back and forth with what we should, what we should do.
Yeah.
And there was talk about maybe trying Rinvoq. Ultimately, it was decided, let's save Rinvoq for later. And we've changed the methotrexate, and I'm now taking 20 milligrams of methotrexate once a week, plus the highest dose of the infliximab Remicade that they can give me every 4 weeks. And I will say in the past 3 weeks, I've started feeling better.
Yeah, because you sound good now. You haven't coughed since we started
coughing.
Yeah.
I'm not limping. I'm still very tired. And I kind of feel like with kind of how my symptoms with sarcoid have been, the fatigue is the last thing to go.
Mm-hmm.
It's a weird fatigue in that I'm very, very tired, but I don't sleep well. So, sometimes because I'm not getting the good quality sleep, part of that, goes into the next day. But I am starting to feel more energetic. Like I said, a lot of the pain, my feet and the Achilles, I woke up a couple of days ago and I put my feet on the floor and I was like, oh my gosh, I don't feel any pain. So I was very skeptical that adding the high dose of methotrexate and sticking the course with the infliximab was going to work, but now I feel hopeful again. And we'll just see if maybe Rinvoq will be an option for some point in the future. Maybe I'll be fine with what I'm doing. I don't know.
Well, there's the recent study that shows that methotrexate is very effective, more effective than they thought, and as effective as prednisone, but it does take longer to take effect. So maybe now the fact that I'm supposing stuff, but maybe the fact that you've been on methotrexate for so long, and then you've got the Remicade as sort of a backup.
Yeah.
So, and you haven't tried azathioprine?
I did try azathioprine.
Okay.
I was taking that when I was on the Humira.
Okay, and that helped or that didn't help, or
I don't know. it didn't help much on its own. I think when I was taking it with Humira, it worked great, and then, but when Humira stopped working, we didn't discuss like just continuing that. Maybe I
Yeah.
should have. Um, I didn't really know.
Yeah.
I was so like scared of doing more prednisone, and just anytime I get sick, I'm on prednisone, and now I have adrenal insufficiency. And that's
Yeah.
been a year and a half with that now.
Hmm.
I have a feeling like that's not going anywhere.
That's a side effect of prednisone as
Yeah.
well. Yeah.
So,
Because it shuts down your adrenal glands.
yeah.
Um,
My blood pressure.
so I want when you first reach out to me, you wanted to know if there was a good podcast that your family could listen to, that your loved ones could
Yeah.
listen to, so that you could benefit from seeing how this affects all the people around you. And I sent you to the episode 100 with John Makoviak,
Yeah.
whose wife Janet is a friend of the podcast, and John serves on the board for FSR with me. And we just met in person for the very first time. In fact, I received your email at a board meeting, and I said, John, I'm going to tell her about your podcast, and he was pleased. And then you wrote back and said that it really helped. How has this impacted your family?
I would say it's just been really hard on them. Like my husband worries about me, my parents and my siblings worry about me. And I will say, like early on when this was going on, and I didn't know what was wrong with me, and then they didn't know. So when I would speak to them on the phone or see them and I'm, coughing and gasping for air, I think there was frustration on my behalf.
Yeah.
And real concern, like, oh my gosh, what must be wrong with you? And then I think I felt so guilty about making people worry about me. I think
Mhm.
I kept a lot of things to myself. Like I didn't share with the majority of my family when I had the lung biopsy. Like that's just, it's too scary for people to hear that somebody is, the first thing you think is lung cancer. And, that was just too scary. And I think for my husband, it was scary for him because he couldn't go with me. He dropped
Because of the
because of COVID.
pandemic. Yeah, because of
Yeah.
COVID. Yeah.
And then just, I think I listened to your podcast about expectations,
Mm-hmm.
and that's kind of the biggest thing as far as, with my husband and my family, like we're going to have a different life than what I had thought.
Yeah.
And, how are there ways to still be joyful and, do all the things, but that I like to do, but it's different. Like that's why I liked listening to hear about Janet skiing with her oxygen.
Yeah.
It inspired me. It also like helped me listen and kind of understand that like it's okay to be angry about this. And I think I kind of pretended that I wasn't for a long time. But now thinking of like listening to that and hearing how people not only have this but thrive, it's not the end of the world. I can let go of being angry. And it's helped me like let more people in, like as far
Mm-hmm.
talking with my friends about it, and and sharing things.
Yeah. Have you gone to the therapist?
Yes, a very good friend of mine found me a therapist who specializes in helping people with medical conditions. And she was for a long time a social worker at Lurie Children's Hospital, working with families with children who have cancer. Um, Finding her and talking to her just was invaluable,
Mm-hmm.
because I needed a place to put all of these emotions, especially like during COVID, when everybody's scared about everything, and then you get this new diagnosis. At a certain point, I felt like I couldn't burden everyone in my family or my husband so much with my fears, and then just my everyday of like not feeling well. So to
Mm-hmm.
talk to the therapist and get feedback from her, and she had great suggestions, and I would just go to those appointments and leave everything with her and walk away and feel better.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Did you have to talk through maybe mourning the loss of your previous life, your previous lifestyle?
I kind of think I'm still doing that.
Yeah.
And mainly because this is such an up and down disease, or at least it has been for me. I keep hoping that I'm going to get to a point where like there's a run of like 4 or 5 years where I'm not thinking about this, worried that I'm going to, catch a cold and it's going to turn into a whole thing, or, you know, I'm not, I'm not there yet.
Yeah. No, I understand. Um, and I've been at it since 2016 myself. So,
Yeah.
and I still get angry sometimes. So, I mean, so your life there in Chicago, I always think, okay, if you live in Chicago, then a weekend is let's go to the museum or let's go to an NFL game or so. I mean, I don't know what you do when you feel healthy and you're out and about in a big city like that.
When I feel healthy, my husband and I love to go to the theater. We're big supporters and fans of Steppenwolf Theater. So we
Okay.
see every new play that they have. We love tiki drinks. So we like to go to a tiki bar. We love going out to eat. Um, I have a dog. We've for many years fostered dogs. So a lot of time spent with animals, which just, makes both of us happy. So a lot
Same.
outside walking them. I'm a big reader. I'm an artist, and I paint. Um, yeah, just like and when the weather here gets so cold in the winter, when there is a nice day to just try to be outside and soak it all in.
Yeah.
And now on days that I feel good, I'm definitely doing that. And days when I don't feel so good, I still try to find something, ideally outside, even if it's just instead of taking my dog to the park, we do a walk to the end of the block,
Yeah.
just to get outside and feel the sun.
Can you walk to the train station now?
I
Two
can.
blocks? The 2 blocks, you can do that?
Well, now on days that I'm feeling good, like we've moved since then.
Oh,
I'm a
okay.
mile away, and
Oh,
I've been really, as I feel good, track my steps, and I like to walk there and back. We live by a huge park, like just I realized a lot of feeling better mentally for me is being active. And it also helps like some of the arthritis pain. Like it's not like osteoarthritis where movement makes it worse because it's all in the tendons. Moving can actually make it feel better.
make you feel better, right? Yeah, lotion is motion.
Yeah.
Motion is
Most is-
lotion. Right. Yes. Yeah, no, that's true. I mean, even when I've had tendonitis and other, friends who are, endurance type athletes, recreational athletes, sometimes you get that thing where you get tendonitis in your knee from running, and it doesn't hurt while you're running, it hurts afterwards. So the
yeah.
running actually makes it feel better,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
So while you're running, it doesn't hurt so much. So, well, that's good. So you've got 3 good weeks, and are you working?
Yes.
You are. Okay. From
Yeah.
home or are you going
I
to work?
work remotely. I work for McGraw-Hill now, and they have a little office in Chicago and offices throughout the whole world. And I do media research for them, mainly on social studies, kindergarten through sixth grade. So I love it. It's
Okay.
so interesting.
Media what kind of media relates to kindergarten through sixth grade? I'm not sure.
So it's still textbooks. So if you're
Okay.
teaching a kindergartner about, we just worked on a project for Florida, um, you know, the state capital of Florida, you need to find a photo to show
Hmm.
kids what the state capital looks about like.
Okay. All right. All right. I'm just going to ask you a question off topic here, but maybe it's pertinent, relevant, or interesting, or all of the above. But are you finding, like you say, if you're doing a history text with the current environment politically, are you having to do revisions of old history texts?
Well,
Can I
since,
ask you that?
yeah, maybe don't
Now,
put this
now the reporter in me is coming out. I'm sorry.
for the podcast, but
Yeah.
yes. So the project I've been working on most recently is for Florida. So, with the current administration, Gulf of Mexico became Gulf of America. So we're taking maps, even not really old maps, but not just current maps, and changing things to Gulf of America. And then they go into the Florida project, but so far nowhere else. We're keeping it. It might need to go someplace else. There are things that have to be removed. And like I said, I'm only working on Florida right now, but there are many things that have had to be removed. We're not adding, but Florida, the state, will not buy the textbooks and, go with the curriculum if it doesn't meet these certain
Yes. Okay.
lines. It's a very strange time. I do a lot of, I need to get photos of politicians or even of the White House, and just even to go on the White House website is like shockingly awful now. I mean,
Yeah. Huh.
probably shouldn't say too much about mine.
Well, yeah, let's not veer into dangerous territory.
Yeah, but it's a different, many years ago I worked for Encyclopedia Britannica.
Yep.
And back then, kind of doing publishing and educational publishing, it was all about being so accurate and historically accurate, and it didn't matter with all the facts to back it up. Now it's a little different.
Yeah. Well, I just had to ask because so you go find a picture of XYZ person that's going to be in the textbook, and you might say you pull it from a government website, but then you've got to get permissions and so forth and so on to redo it. And I would hope if it comes from a government website, they don't charge you for it.
It should be public domain, but you still got to
you still got to check, right? Still got to do all that.
We do audio and video things, and there's online components, but McGraw does medical texts and college textbooks and all kinds of things. So it's a great opportunity, and much different than what I was doing at DePaul, but higher education. I was laid off last December just because it's tough in higher education, and they had to make cuts even in the fundraising department.
Yeah. No, I've worked in a college fundraising department. I understand how tough it can be. So, okay. Well, so you're sitting here today and you're 3 weeks feeling good. I would assume you've got another test or scan or something coming up.
Probably not until October. So I'm doing a pulmonary function test in October, because when I had gone in previously after this not so great scan in March, pulmonologist was like, there's no point in doing the pulmonary function test now. We know it's going to be bad. So let's not get discouraged. We'll do it. We'll repeat. So I have that on the books in October. And at that point, I will ask for sure to do another scan, maybe at the end of the year. I want to hopefully give it enough time that maybe some of these granulomas will have dissolved on their own.
Good. And your family is getting more comfortable with your sarcoidosis situation?
Yeah, and a lot of it is, I'm just talking about it more, like not in a, oh, poor me complaining, but just sharing more, because I finally accepted this is just a part of who I am now. While it might go dormant or kind of in remission, it's always going to be there lurking around. So it's better for everybody for me to be open about it and ask for help sometimes when I need it, as opposed to pretending it's all okay.
Yeah. Well, I hope, Kimberly, that you'll stay in touch with me and let me know how things go. And if you have any, further questions or whatever, feel free to, as always, reach out to me, and I'll try and put you in touch with somebody that I know that might be able to get you to the next thing.
Oh, that's awesome. I've been so enjoying the podcast. I've been thinking longer term about when I retire, and I've been interested in people talking about these sarcoid clinics. And I would love it if I could go to a clinic and everybody comes to me, as opposed to me going to the doctor every 2 weeks to see somebody different. So your podcast has just opened my eyes to the questions I didn't even know that I had. And it's made me feel more hopeful about, getting through this journey and feeling better. So Thank you so much. I'm so grateful that you're out there doing this.
Great. Well, thank you for sharing your story, and I'm glad that the podcast could help. That's why it's here.
Oh, love it.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. Thanks. Bye-bye, John.
I feel like a zombie, just feeding and stumbling.
Thanks to Kimberly for coming forward with her story. She had originally reached out to me saying she had discovered the podcast. You heard her say that towards the end of the interview. She was looking for an episode for family members and caregivers. And I've only had a couple of those, but the most recent one that I remember was, and of course, is with John Makoviak, who I now know in person, episode 100, whose wife Janet is a fellow FSR board member. And so that's the one I sent her to, and then we emailed back and forth a little bit, and lo and behold, I thought she would be a good person to share her story, and I was certainly right about that. So we wish Kimberly all the best as she and her medical team seek the right drugs to get her situation under control. This is a good time to contact me if you'd like to share your story on the podcast. It's carlinagency@gmail.com. The official Sark Fighter song is Zombie by Mark Steyer, a fellow Sark Fighter. He's got an update in episode 118. The podcast comes out every other Monday. As I'm speaking today, my trusty boxer Dougal is curled up on the chair in my office. He makes my life so much better. My other rescue mutt, Shandy, I think, is hanging out with Mary tonight. If you're new here and you're just trying to figure out what Sark is, try listening to episode 2 with Dr. Simon Hart. My story is episode 1. Please send me an email. It's in the show notes, carlinagency@gmail.com. Till next time, keep fighting.
Learn to suffer, you feel